the wonderful Chaotic family. Hoping everyone is having a great weekend, though. I, Kashish, am more grateful to be a host for the day for the guest session of NLF 6.0. Being a part of the Chaotic Quills, it's only right for me to introduce you to our organization, founded in 2020 by Sumit Buddhiraja and Shrey Mendirata. The Chaotic Quills is the Government of India registered by MSME, literary organization that aims to keep the literature community alive through the years of modernity. We encourage the society to see through the eyes of literature and uphold the community. We are available on various platforms through which you can access us for our events and the various content. We are proudly hosting the flagship event, Lit National Literary Fest 6.0. This time, we are greatly thanking you for a part of it. Today, for a guest session, we have with us Ms. Muskan Madaan, an enlightening persona who will deliver an insightful talk on finding your voice through podcasting. We cordially welcome you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Kashish, for the beautiful introduction. I'm glad to be here and I'm excited to talk to all of you. We'll have a chill pill session and we'll talk about finding your own voice through podcasting.
It's going to be a great session as it's a great honor and a privilege to have you here with us. To tell you a little about her, Miss Madan is a freelance content creator and now a well known podcast host. It's a really amazing as to how much your voice will make a difference. We look forward to learning from you and enriching ourselves. Before we dive into the sessions, I request the audience to turn on your cameras and all the queries can be put into the chat box. There will be a Q&A round at the end of the session. So over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Kashish. I'm glad to be here and excited for interaction with you all. And if you guys will open your camera, I'll see that somebody is listening, somebody is, watching me. So it will be more interactive and you will get to learn a lot through this session. Trust me, this is going to be more exciting than I am looking. We'll start with the introduction and we'll move on to the whole process of podcasting. I'll say we'll start with a basic level thing to a high level thing. And yeah, you guys can open your camera. Hi, Sumit. Yeah.
Hi, Muskan.
Hi, Yashika.
Hi.
Hi, Gitika.
Hi.
So let's begin with the session. You must be thinking, who am I? And I guess Kashish have given better introduction than I can give myself. So I'm a podcast host. I've hosted 21 plus guests and I'm a content creator on LinkedIn with 2.5k plus followers. And you will not believe this 2.5k plus followers are in just 2 months. I've not been using LinkedIn for a year or for 2 years. It's just 2 months that I've got 2.5k followers. Besides that, I do freelance content writing work also. So, how come podcast? I'll tell you the story how I begin podcasting. In in the 2020, when we all were, in the pandemic, I started listening to podcast, and I decided to do one podcast, as in a solo podcast of my own, but I couldn't do it for an year. But then I got some free time, and I actually did it. And after I did my first podcast, I haven't looked back and posted so many guests on my show. I'm still doing it, but in a lower pace than I was doing earlier. So you got an idea who I am, and I'll not say I'm a perfect person about to talk about podcasts, but yeah, I have a experience. I have a good idea how podcast goes. That's why I'm here to share with you my experience. If you are thinking of starting your own podcast, but you are confused, should you start or should you not start? Because it is a very hard road. It is not a piece of cake. It is really tough to stand out as a podcaster in the podcasting industry. Podcasting industry is expected to reach 94.88 billion in 2028, and it's a perfect time to start podcasts, because if you don't do it now, you'll regret it later. If you consume a type of content, for example, if I consume LinkedIn content, I started creating that content. If you consume podcast, you should too start creating one. You guys can jot down your questions, or you can type in the chat box. I'll be able to answer all your questions at the end of this session. You can unmute yourself if you have any questions.
I want to ask something.
Yes.
Basically, how do you start with podcasting? What content should you do, and where should you post so that people listen to it, and whatever? I mean, start from the scratch. What is podcast all about, and how do we start with it, and how to later promote your content, and where to put it?
Yes, yes. So basically, when you start, you should know more about yourself. What type of podcast do you listen to? What type of person are you? In which field you are interested in? Suppose if I listen to a fictional podcast which has stories, which have, horror stories or something like this, I'll start a fictional podcast. If I listen to interview based podcast, I'll start an interview based podcast. So it totally depends on you. What type of person are you, and what type of podcast do you want to design for yourself? After you have decided ki I'll do solo podcast, and I'll have, the stories in my podcast, I'll have a short content in which a type of informative content in my podcast. There are a lot of there are a lot of niches you can get into. My niche is personal development and careers. Your could be beauty, your could be anything else, in whatever field you are interested in. Your could be writing too. So it is basically your interest, and once you started now, you'll start exploring different types of topics. I'll deep dive into each type of the podcast, and tell you how can you basically post a podcast, where do you want to post the podcast, how is this podcasting industry working. I'll answer all your question. Like, your question is a broad one. We'll go through the session, and your question will be answered. So, first type of podcast is solo podcast. I have experience in solo podcast as well as the guest type podcast. My first podcast was a solo podcast. Solo podcast is a podcast in which it is only one person's voice. Everybody knows what podcast is. Do everybody knows what podcasts are?
Can you please give us a little brief introduction? What is a podcast exactly?
Podcast is anything audio which you can listen while doing something else, which can be listened um, while doing your work. Suppose you are cooking and you don't want to listen songs, you can listen to a podcast. Podcast is something you can do side by side. So this is a thing, this is a only audio. Basic definition of podcast is the only audio version which you can do while doing something else.
Where do you listen to podcast to? I mean, is there an app or something like it's YouTube or Spotify or any apps you listen to?
There are many apps, many audio platforms that provide streaming of podcast. Famous ones are Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Anchor, and YouTube also.
Thank you so much. So, where do you post the podcast? If I supposing I record something and I put it in the podcast, how to record it and how to post it there?
Yeah, we'll go to step by step, like how to create, how to script, and then we'll come on to posting. But to answer your question, I'll say Anchor is a platform by Spotify. When you post a podcast there, it get distributed to all other platforms, so it is the best platform I have came across till now.
Thank you.
Okay, let's continue our topic. So, solo podcasts are the podcasts in which there includes only one person with excessive storytelling and requires normal editing. Editing basically depends on what type of podcast are you doing. If my solo podcast is a horror movie podcast, is a horror fictional podcast, I'll require background sounds, I'll require some types of booth key sound, aisa kuch. But for a person who is doing an informative content, it includes only one person. It is very easy to do, and excessive storytelling is the base of podcast. Doesn't matter if you are doing a solo podcast or an interview based podcast, storytelling is a skill you need to develop at any cost. You can't compromise on storytelling if you are getting into podcast or any type of content creation.
Do you need some kind of training to talk on the podcast or how to speak and what should be your tone, intonation? How would one person know that whatever he or she is speaking is coming out good or not, and where to record it so that there is no, because at your homes or at your workplaces there's no studio or something where the sound and everything is very clear. So what technical issues can come up while recording?
Yeah. Geetika, we'll move on to that topic as well once we start, a structured way of doing this session. I am sure I'll answer your question while we move on to next slide. Is it okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I was telling ki storytelling is a very basic part, very basic skill if you want to do podcast. If you ask what is basically storytelling, the movies you watch is storytelling, the books you read is storytelling, the videos you watch is storytelling. Everything has this skill in common. If I'm taking this session, it has a story behind it. I told you how I started a podcast. That was my story. And the way I was telling my story was my storytelling skills. If I ask you who are you, how you will tell your story is uh, it's a it's the outcome of your storytelling skills. So excessive storytelling is the main thing you need to require for solo podcast as well as the interview based podcast. we'll now deep dive into interview based podcast, how to decide a topic and the guest, how to email the person, how to bring your dream guest on the show, how to structure and prepare the structure and questions of the podcast, how to record the podcast, the question which Gitika was asking, how to edit a podcast, and posting and marketing after that. I'm sure you all are excited for this interview based podcast deep dive. Let's come to the topic, how to decide. The topic should be something you are interested in. Suppose I'm interested in feminism. So my topic could be feminism. My topic could be related to feminism. My topic could be how women solo travelers are afraid of traveling. My topic could be um, how women are facing issue in leaderships, how the diversity of women in tech. So feminism could be related to these topics. If you are interested in any topic, you can make different subtopics below that. Your topic could be something you don't know but you are curious about. I'm very much curious about crypto, NFT, and all Bitcoin, all those things going on. I'll decide my topic as what is NFT, an NFT project, how to make an NFT project, how to buy an NFT. This could be any of this could be a bunch of topics you can go into. We can also decide something in trend. There is a Google website which is called Google Trends, in which you can see कि जो भी trending में चल रहा है topic, you can make videos, make podcast on that topic as well. It can give you views, but I'll not recommend to go on what is trending क्योंकि सभी वही बना रहे होते हैं at that time. You are not unique or you are not something you are known about. Suppose I am known about feminist topic, so why would I make something which is trending, which is not related to feminism? So this is a contradiction here. You can make, but it won't work for a long term. If you want initial views or listens, you can make something on trending topic, but it is not good for long term. Your topic will decide your niche and target audience. If you want to do anything in content creation or any business outside, see your podcast as a business. If you want to make a business, you'll always have a target audience. If you make a product or a podcast, anything for everyone, no one will buy it, no one will listen it because people will say this person talks about anything and everything in which he or she is not perfect, he or she is not experienced about. So always decide your niche, but explore as many as topics as you can and then niche down to few. I'll tell you my
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt you,
yes.
but can you share your slides? Like
I'll
as,
share this.
as a presentation.
Okay.
If,
Okay, Kashish, can we share this slide after the call? After
no, I mean as a presentation, ma'am.
Presentation, screen
The
sharing,
slides.
Maria.
my screen is not shared.
Now it is.
Your screen is shared, but we aren't able to get the full view of it.
Oh,
Muskan, what I think Samruti means is कि you can do the slideshow. Can you move back to the slide? Yeah, and there's a slideshow option above. Little bit up, little bit up, the above one, and on the right side, where there's sign in का option.
slide. Oh, okay.
Sign in slideshow. Yes, that will help. That is it, right, Samruti?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, thank you. Sorry to interrupt, Muskan.
It's okay, it's okay. I should have done this earlier. Thank you, Samriti.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so we were on topic. Once you figure out the topic, the next thing is to figure out the guest. Search on internet about your topic. You found you will find so many people talking about that topic. Suppose if I search feminism, you will find so many, especially women, talking about that topic. If I search personal development, you will find so many YouTubers like Ranveer Alabalia. You will find more YouTubers like there was one Drishti Sharma. There are many YouTubers in personal development. So you can decide your guest with the help of researching about at what topic you want to talk about. If you want to talk about personal development, search the people in personal development. If you want to talk about tech, search the people in tech. Make sure you are sending your invites to a credible person. ऐसा नहीं है you are sending the one invite to a college student or someone who is not professional or someone who is not expert in the topic you are talking about. क्योंकि your talk has a huge impact on people who are listening to you. There would be approximately 10 to 15 people at the start, but once you grow, your talk has a huge impact. You have a huge responsibility against the society you are living in. So make sure you have a credible person on your show. Once you decide the topic, you will decide the guest by its own. Next task is to send the cold emails. If you want to talk to a person who is famous and you don't know him, you're talking to that person first time, you are sending an email. That email is called a cold email. I have figured out in the hard way. I have sent emails, hundreds of emails, but I have got the reply of only few, like 10 or I'll say 10% response, 10% reply back response I have gotten. But I was making a mistake. My email was not well structured. My email had a lot of jargon. I don't want you to make the same mistake. So there is my recent email that I have sent to this person Josh. Um, this is an email. I'll I'll I hope you are able to see this example that I have in this slide. Hi Josh, I came across your work through an article published on CNBC and was really inspired by you how you built 7 income streams working 3.5 days a week. Now the first para includes about that person, includes the specific details about that person. The Josh will be happy कि Muskan has researched well about me and she knows who I am. Next para is my introduction and my credibility. I do podcast on this and this. I would love to host you. And I have hosted 21 plus guests. This shows कि I am an experienced person. Initially, when you are not experienced, tell them that you don't have to include that 21 plus guests. Tell them what you are currently doing. Tell them I am an engineer and who is currently doing this and I want to do a podcast with you. Tell them I am a college student. Tell the truth. There's no need to say the jargon कि मैं ये हूँ. Tell the truth who you are and send them an invite. There should be a proper CTA. CTA means call to action. If I read this email, what should I do? हाँ, invite भेजा है, लेकिन करना क्या है? Invite. I have accepted the invite. What should I do now? The last line is, if you are in, you can schedule a call here. I have proper CTA कि अगर तुम्हें करना है podcast, you can schedule a call by clicking here. See you on call, Josh. Best, Muskan. So this name, you will see I have highlighted this name Josh. Q, because if you call someone by their name, they are more active, they are more interactive, and they like their name. In this whole world, their favorite name is their own name. I hope you all are clear with this cold email thing. Let's move
Correct.
on to the
Yes.
next slide.
Yes, yes.
Recording
Very
a
well.
podcast. प्लीज कीप इट अ लिटिल बिट इंटरैक्टिव. मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है कि मैं अकेली बोल रही हूँ. कीप इट इंटरैक्टिव, ओके?
When I was talking, somebody posted that we should wait for you and all our questions will be answered. That's why I remained quiet. I thought maybe it's more one-sided session.
Okay, we'll take questions at the end, but please reply if you are getting my point or not when I ask, okay?
Okay.
So now let's come to recording a podcast. Initially, जब I started podcasting, I borrowed a tripod from my cousin and recorded one solo episode. So my podcast is audio plus video. That's why I needed a tripod. If you are starting only audio, you don't need anything except your phone. Seriously, you can record audio through your phone and you can post it. A good quality audio, I'm not talking about an audio which we usually record. A good quality audio can be recorded in your phone and it can be posted, so you don't need any equipment to start a podcast. I started with my phone. I didn't buy a mic, at least in first, or bought a mic after third podcast. So here's my suggestion to you. Now I bought a new mic, that is the podcasting mic that I have. So I'll suggest you do it without any equipments. Explore it. If you really want to do it, then buy the all the materials required for it. I still don't have camera. The camera I use is my phone's camera only. So I guess this is a lesson for you all. You don't need anything. You don't need any resources. You just need resourcefulness. You have resources. You just need to start. Next is how to record a podcast. Initially, I tried few of the sources, like there was a different platform to record the podcast. I tried it once, but that was paid. So I thought, why we are using a paid platform to record the podcast? It was paid only because it has a good quality of audio. But if you use Zoom or you use Google Meet, you can record in Google Meet as well. Or you can do screen recording in your laptop while doing a podcast. These are enough. These tools are more than enough. No need to buy any paid version of any tool. So initially you will have all of this. Are you getting?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next is, once you record the podcast, there comes a huge, there's a huge problem to edit the podcast. I initially hated editing, but I have to do because I didn't have a team. I didn't have someone who can do editing for me. With time, I met a friend on Twitter, and he did editing for me for so many of episode. Now he went for his higher studies, and I have hired another video editor for me. So it's not like you have to know all of the things for editing, but you just need to know the basics. I'll highly recommend to learn Wondershare Filmora because this is a very user-friendly tool for editing, and I myself have edited through Wondershare Filmora. You can also learn Adobe Premiere Pro. It is a tool, it is a good tool for all the video editors, but I'll not recommend it because it is way more advanced level. If you want to edit movies, if you want to, have something cinematic type in your podcast, you can go for Premiere Pro. But unless or until you are having an audio only podcast, you can, edit your audio in Filmora or your videos in Filmora. You don't need to be perfect in this, so chill out. You will learn some by watching, few hours YouTube videos. You don't need anything, any high level editing for this. Once you have a team, you can, outsource the editing task, and you can have, you don't need to pay a person to have a team. You can have your friends who do video editing, who are interested in video editing, and you can just say them, can you edit this video for me? I just want to post this. So, take advantage of your network, the people you are, the people in your college, the people in your classroom, or the people you are interacting with. You'll find someone who can do video editing for you. Next is posting. Now, I think Gitika was asking this question, where to post. It depends ki if you have audio only podcast. I have a audio plus video podcast because my was interview based podcast. लेकिन अगर आपका only audio है, post it on Anchor, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, JioSaavn, Wink, Ghana, and every audio platform you come across. Just have a search on Google. Audio platforms audio platforms for podcasting. You will have a list. ये नहीं होता कि अगर आपने एक पॉडकास्ट पोस्ट कर लिया है, you have to post the same podcast everywhere. What you have to do is, first you will post on Anchor. You will get an RSS link. The link is called RSS link. आपको बस वो लिंक को सारी जगह पे पेस्ट करना है. You have to post that link in Apple Podcast, that link in Google Podcast. So every time you do a podcast, you don't need to post on every platform. You just post on Anchor, and वो RSS links जो होता है वो सभी में distribute कर देता है. This is a very good technology by Spotify. You should definitely try it. Next is, if you are doing audio plus video, you can use platforms like YouTube. I have my own YouTube channel on which I post the podcast, and yeah, this is a good thing because when you come in front of camera na, you have that confidence, and this can help you in many ways if you are starting an audio plus video podcast. Next is marketing. Are you getting?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next we come to marketing. If you are a person who is already in marketing, then I don't need to tell you this about this slide. But if you are someone from tech background, or a college student who wants to start a podcast, or someone who is into another field and who want to come into podcasting, I'll say learn about marketing as much as you can. Because suppose I have posted a podcast, who will listen it? My family and friends. Who else will listen it? I don't think anyone will listen it unless and until I do marketing. Marketing can be on any platform, your Insta, your LinkedIn, anywhere. Tell your family and friends. So I'll tell you a story. जब मैंने podcast start करा था ना, what my mom used to do is, the YouTube video and the YouTube video ka link and the Spotify link, my mom used to forward to all her contacts. My dad used to forward it to all his contacts. So आधे मेरे views ना starting में my family and friends से ही आए हैं. It doesn't matter. It is not it is not an issue of judgments. You should not care what other people say about you. You have your own journey, and I guess you should have that confidence to share your work with your family and friends. next time, like after the podcast that that my family and friends shared, I shared on my Insta profile, I shared on my LinkedIn profile. So what currently I do is I build my brand on LinkedIn. If you have a if you have an idea of content creation, you can start building your own personal brand on any one platform or on all of them. I'll recommend you to start with one platform. If you are getting started, start with Instagram or LinkedIn. I'll prefer LinkedIn because Instagram is crowded. But yeah, you can have anywhere: Instagram, LinkedIn, or Twitter. What suits you better? So I tried Instagram, I tried Twitter, I tried LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best platform I came across till now for marketing podcast. You can try, and this is a trial and error process. For me, it was LinkedIn. For you, it could be Insta. For someone else, it could be Twitter. So this is your decision where you want to market the podcast. Start doing courses about marketing. Start learning more and more about marketing because this will help you in podcast a lot. Okay, we are about to end this session. We can have the Q&A session for you all.
Okay. Hello, ma'am. This is Smriti. I am also from the team of Chaotic Quills. So I'll be taking over the further of the hosting. We had a few questions from the participants. The first one was the major difference between podcasting and radio.
Okay, the major difference between podcasting and radio. Radio is a live thing. When you when you meet a radio host, it is a live thing. The person is talking to you live. Podcast is a recorded thing. You are recording something and posting it on a platform. Radios are not posted anywhere. It is one time thing. So, agar if someone is telling a story on a radio, you can't play it and you can't, have it कि मेरे को ये दोबारा सुनना है. You can't do it. But for podcast, you can just swipe and you can listen it all again. I hope the person who has asked this has got his or her answer.
Yeah, I guess Abhinav, does that answer your question? Okay. All right. If any other participant has any other questions, please do ask.
Yeah, ask it anyway. It could be a basic question. It could be a question that I have already answered. So don't be shy. Just ask it away. I guess there's no other question. And one more question come across is what is storytelling method in the chat? I guess Abhinav has asked the same question. So storytelling is you have already answered it as well. Yeah, it is a method of it is method of telling a story in an interesting way to someone, and it is like seeking their attention. If you are able to have someone attention, you will win in podcasting. Okay, we have some more question. Ma'am, how do you don't talk don't call me ma'am, you can call Muskan also. Yeah. How do you take ideas for new podcast? Want to have insights on your research approach for the scene. Okay, how do I take ideas? So I'll tell you how do I, specify my topics and all. If I'm interested in personal development, suppose this my life going on. If I'm having a very bad time, a very low time, and I'm going through a burnout, what I'll do is I'll make a podcast on burning out, how to avoid burnout, what are the symptoms of burnout. So I take content from my life. It is like that. So you can take ideas from anywhere, from your friends and from your life. Sometimes I'm talking to my best friend and कोई भी बात चलती है and she says कि uh, we are really good friends and we really need to maintain this relationship. So I got this topic and I just have a podcast on it. So it is like कि मेरा जो podcast है ना, that is related to personal development. So the topic can come from my life also. But if your podcast is related to say beauty, you can have the podcast have the topics related to the beauty as well. And my research approach is I read a lot of blogs on the particular topic I'm going to do podcast on, so that with guest I also know about a few of the, I'm aware about what is the topic and what I am about to say. I have to go, but it was a great session. Thanks. Thank you, Gitika. Is the podcast independent? Like we can share our own views on anything. If it sounds like we are anti-national or trending topics, okay. The podcast is obviously independent. You have right to share your views, but I would say ki don't share something negative. You are making an impact on this world. Some people are listening to you. So if you it is better to have a good impact. You can share your opinions, you can share anything you want, but it's better to have a positive impact on this world and do good things.
May I continue my question? Am I audible, Smriti?
Yeah. Hi,
Yes.
Rakesh.
Hi, Muskan ma'am. My name is also Muskan.
Oh, your name on the Google
Yeah,
Meet
it's
show.
my father's name actually.
Okay, okay.
Good evening, ma'am. So I just wanted to ask basically that there are many things in our society which we are unable to say it publicly because obviously
Okay.
बहुत सारी चीजें हैं. So
Mm-hmm.
is podcast a platform जहाँ पे we can express ourselves everything relating even small छोटी से छोटी चीज हो मतलब अब कोई चीज है जो गवर्नमेंट ने की है and we are not ready for it या हमें जो नहीं सही लगी. So can we share it independently or we have some boundaries की meaning you cannot do this. अब जैसे ट्विटर पे है हमारे अकाउंट्स वो हो जाते हैं. Not exactly that much anti-national I'm talking about, but some of the things जो हमें कहते हैं कि आपको गवर्नमेंट की जो गाइडलाइंस है उसके अंदर ही रहना चाहिए. यूट्यूब पे भी काफी कुछ होता है. So is podcast overall independent or we have some boundaries for that?
No, it is independent because the major, the major audience comes from Spotify, and Spotify is a foreign company. So I don't think our Indian government has a huge right to say Spotify ban this or ban that. तो इनिशियली आई वुड से कि कोई तुम्हें टोकेगा नहीं. यू कैन हैव दैट power. You should have that confidence to talk about a particular topic you believe in. It should be right. You should proper believe in. आपके पास facts होने चाहिए उसको prove करने के लिए. You should obviously share your opinion, but once you have that a particular level now, if you became a famous podcaster, then you need to think about the audience. Then you need to think about कि impact क्या पड़ रहा है. क्योंकि एक when we have fame ना, we have a responsibility. With fame it comes a responsibility. So at initial level you can start it, you can have your opinions, and आपकी जो audience होगी वो भी आपके opinions की ही होगी. जिस जौन सी audience के opinions आपसे match करते होंगे वही audience आपके पास होगी.
Thank you, ma'am.
I hope that I answered your questions.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Uh, Guidelines regarding podcast. There's no guidelines you can search it. There would be some, आप क्रिमिनल टाइप का पॉडकास्ट कुछ नहीं कर सकते, आप किसी को गंदी सलाह नहीं दे सकते. I don't think she's talking about she's going in that direction, but yeah. SGPS, I might have seen you. Yes, I have studied from Shri Har Krishna Public School. Tushika has asked, what is the best thing about podcasting? So the best thing about podcasting, I'll tell you mine one. जो interview based podcast होते हैं ना, so I have network with the interview based podcast. If you tell me कि मेरे को अभी ना किसी NFT के बंदे से काम है, I can connect you with a person who sells NFTs or who is into NFTs. So network is the biggest advantage that I got through podcasting. Second biggest advantage was communication. I was not like this. I was not this confident that when I got into podcasting. But as I continued it, I became a better communicator. Okay, Muskan. What steps to follow if you want to start podcasting? Umarpreet, these are the steps you want to follow if you want to start podcasting. If you have, a solo podcast, if you have this interview based podcast, I am specialized in interview based podcast. So these are the six steps that you should definitely follow if you are doing an interview based podcast. You can take a screenshot of it.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay. We have some more question. What steps? Okay. What is an interview based podcast? Interview based podcast is a podcast in which you take an interview or you have a conversation with someone else. If I am here, my friend or my guest is here, I'm talking to him and recording it. That is an interview based podcast. As simple as that. What should be the time frame for a good podcast? Okay, this is the topic that I haven't touched, but I should have did that earlier. Thanks, Abhinav, for asking this question. So if you are getting into interview based podcast, the first thing you should know is that you should keep it as short as you can. But interview based podcast can't be short than 30 minutes. अगर तुम किसी को लेके आ रहे हो and just talking ki hi, hello and bye, you can't do like this ना. You have to, get into that zone कि वो अपने secrets बताए, वो अपनी चीजें खोले, वो अपने राज बताए, and वो अपना जो success है उसका, पूरी story बताए. You have to be very very patient with the person you are having your podcast with. So interview based podcasts are approx 1 or 1.5 hours. लेकिन if you are doing solo podcast, you have a very good advantage कि आपका podcast छोटा हो सकता है. 2 minutes, 5 minutes, इतना चलेगा. 5 minutes is fine I think if you want to do a solo podcast because किसी के पास इतना टाइम नहीं है कि वो 1 घंटा पूरा पॉडकास्ट सुने बैठ के. इंटरव्यू बेस्ड पॉडकास्ट सुना जा सकता है, लेकिन एक ही जाने की आवाज 1 घंटा सुननी, दिस इज अ रियली बोरिंग टास्क आई वुड से, unless or until you have an excessive storytelling skills. Biggest problem while starting podcasting, I really hated editing videos but I have to do it. लेकिन उसके बाद मेरे को मेरा एक फ्रेंड मिल गया जो कि मेरे लिए एडिटिंग कर देता था, सो देन इट सॉर्टेड डाउन. आप किस किस के साथ पॉडकास्ट किए हैं? मैंने 21 प्लस गेस्ट के साथ पॉडकास्ट किए हैं. आई विल शेयर द यूट्यूब प्लेलिस्ट लिंक इफ यू वांट मी टू. The podcast name is We Exception. So you can search it on YouTube or you can just search my name, Muskan Madaan, on YouTube. You will get the link of my podcast. Hi, Sayam. If I can talk in a different accent in solo, it is the best thing you can do. You can talk in different accent. You can talk in different, voices. in your solo podcast, you can do anything because it is your own property. You can do anything with it. So I'll highly suggest, Sayam, go for it. Gayatri, is audiobook a podcast? Audiobook is more like reading. If I have a book in my phone, I'm reading it and I started recording it. Audiobook is more like that. You can start it, but I won't think that is something different. क्योंकि अगर किसी को ऑडियो बुक ही पढ़नी है, it is already there in the market. If I want a audio book of Atomic Habits, it is already there. अगर तुम उसके मतलब ज़्यादा तुम एक और ऑडियो बुक ऐड कर दोगे, तो it won't matter. It won't make any difference. तो तुम वही कर रहे हो जो लोग कर चुके हैं. Do something different. What should be starting topic to start the podcast? What should be starting topic to start the podcast? I guess I have answered this a lot many times कि जो starting जो भी topic तुमने करना है, make it कि you have interest in that topic, second you are curious about that topic, third if the topic is trending or not. If you want to start with the basic thing. Tell your guest, hi, welcome to the podcast, thank you for coming and giving your time, just like Kashish did with me. Got it? What was your inspiration for starting podcasting? Okay, my inspiration, there's not like कि मेरी कोई there was a one person that I was inspired by. There was a lot of podcasts I listened to and I was inspired by podcasters. That's why I started, because I used to listen a lot of interview based podcasts and think that yaar kitna maza aa raha hai and I have to do this. This is the thing why I started podcasting. And this was my inspiration. The podcaster that I was listening to was my inspiration. How to grab audience of
Okay.
same oh yeah, Umarpreet. How to grab an audience of same interest. Audience of same interest. Okay, once you start posting, you'll get a lot of people from US, from Germany, from places. And somehow अगर आपके thoughts उनके साथ match करते हैं, you will get the audience. But marketing is a very essential step. Don't forget to market your podcast using your personal brand. कहीं पर भी Insta, LinkedIn or Twitter. I'm repeating this because this is very important. Marketing is the most important step. How to earn money? Okay. Yes, how to earn money. This is also a thank you, a person named Harry Potter who have asked this question. So earning money is something that I should have get into earlier. Lekin how can you earn money through podcast is you can run ads at start and the end of the podcast if your podcast is famous enough. Okay, brands will reach out to you and you can run ads. Secondly, you will have a brand. If suppose मेरे पास अभी मेरा podcast है, मेरे listeners है, and if I make a course on podcasting, if I make a course on personal development, people will buy it. When people will buy something, even if it is, suppose I have a course of 1,000 rupees, and suppose अगर 50 people will also, अगर 50 people will buy that course, I have 50,000 rupees. So this course thing really works for in the game in this content creation field. You can have different sources of income through podcasting as well. Can you reach? Can the reach of a podcast vary? Yes, it can definitely vary. It varies from episode to episode. मेरे first episode में there was 30 to 50 listeners, and मेरे third fourth episode में it dropped down. So I guess this matters a lot. I am Sayam is asking. I'm actually a hyper polyglot, and I was willing to start a podcast where I showcase my language and accent skills. I've been a voice actor for anime. Sayam, please go for it. Please, I will say कि this podcast कि the niche in which you are going to start the podcast is very unique, very specific. Audience will love it. My friends are anime fans, so I can understand. Okay. Okay, these are people helping each other. Thanks, Abhinav, for helping Sayam. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's it for now. If anybody else has a question, please post it off.
Yeah, please ask it. Don't be shy.
They are, of course, not
I'm just a
shy.
person like you.
Okay, I guess nobody else has any further
Huh?
questions. Yeah, I guess that's it for it.
Yeah. I hope all.
Yeah, it was a really great
Yeah.
session to have you. And I hope we find future podcast artists over here from TCQ, also from the audience.
Yeah, I love this session and it was amazing. People, if you want to connect with me after the session, make sure you just search me on LinkedIn. My full name is Muskan Madaan and you will find me. You can send me your doubts. I'll reply to each one of you if you have anything left.
Yeah, so I guess that will be it. Thank you so much for coming and making our NLF 6.0 a great blast this time. Uh, so as we've come to the end, I'd like to request everyone to turn your cameras on and say cheers to podcasting. So we'll take a photo of everyone.
Yeah.
Guys, turn your cameras on. No.
Hi Pranjal, nice to see you. Hi Tushika. Hi Yashika.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you for such a
Hi.
great session. It was really amazing.
Thank you so much. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah, a special thanks to Muskan, for coming up and taking time out of her hectic schedule. I really had to convince Muskan for this one. So it was
Thanks so
really great,
much.
Muskan.
Thanks. I was out with my friends actually. I
Yeah, I
especially
saw
came
the
here.
story. I saw the story. I was so worried that you won't come.
Okay, guys.
This is my friend's PG, so I'm here to take a session.
Okay, yeah, yeah, I can know. I know this is not your regular setup. I've seen that.
Yeah.
Let's have a picture together. Who is clicking the picture? Just a second. Let me check. Yeah. Okay. Are we ready for a picture, everyone?
Yeah.
Everybody
Okay.
say podcasting.
Acha, Samruti has something to say. Yo,
Say podcasting. Cheers.
podcasting.
Cheers.
Cheers. Are we done? Who clicked the picture?
No idea.
Yashika, you did?
Should I?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, please. Let's have it again. Yes.
I took a screenshot. I hope so. I took it. Let me check. Yeah, I had it. Okay. Thank you for making this session so interactive. I'm glad all of you have asked the question in chat, and chat box is filled with messages. I wasn't able to see this screen as I was sharing my screen. So I was worried ki people are interacting or not, but you have been a great audience for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
That's the